Welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to make a real Texas favorite that's sure to warm your heart and soul. It's my Texas turkey chili, vegetarian style, and it's heart healthy as well. As I go through the recipe with you, I'll give you tips for both the turkey and vegetarian versions of this recipe, and I'll show you how to spice it up or tone it down without losing any flavor. So let's get started. This is going to be fun today. The first thing I always do is preheat my pan because, you know, we don't want the onions to stick to it. So we're going to make sure that that's good and hot, which I've done. I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of olive oil to my pan here. That looks about good, so we can get those onions sauteing. I like to saute my onions really good at the beginning of my cooking process because I want them to really get good and done because that aids the digestion. Oh, that sizzle is a nice, just perfect. And you know, if you get it too hot, don't worry about it. Now, we'll just stir those around a little bit. You know, the history of chili is really fun. Chili originated in the early 1800s in Texas by our cowboys out of the need for something to eat on the trail. Texas history books tell us that the cowboys would plant onions, oregano, and chilies in the mesquite patches along the trail so the cows wouldn't forage it. Mesquite's a scrubby, shrubby bush kind of tree that's hard to walk between. Then, when the cowboys would go back out on the trail, they'd stop because they remembered they made markers where they planted these veggies. They would stop, pick these spices, and cook them over the campfire with whatever meat they had on hand. This is looking really good. Well, the taste of that chili caught on, and pretty soon everybody was talking about Texas chili. Well, later on, in about 1902, in the German town in Texas called New Braunfels, that's down in the southern part of the state, a German immigrant named William Gebhardt created chili powder by drying the chilies, grinding them into a powder to use as a spice. Well, the rest is history. Chili caught on like wildfire, and to this day, people fiercely compete with their version of the best Texas chili. Well, now, while that's going, let's talk about meat. Turkey can be a much healthier choice in cooking than beef as it's lower in cholesterol and saturated fat. This recipe uses turkey as the meat, but I'm going to take it a step further and show you how to make it vegetarian in a way that will still give you protein and satisfy even the most avid meat eater. So now these onions are looking really good. I really like to get them good and sauteed. I'll go ahead and add my garlic now. I don't like to add the garlic at the beginning of the sauteing process because it can burn it. So I like saute my onions about halfway, and then I add my garlic and I'll let that saute just a little bit. The ground meat substitute I'm going to use today is called textured vegetable protein and can be found in most supermarkets in the deli section. I have several versions here in front of the cooktop to show you today. It comes pre-ground just like meat, and it cooks very much the same way. And you can get it prepared like I'm using today, or you can get it dehydrated where you just add some water to it and cook it up. Actually, kind of the way I like to think of it is if you really are on a sodium-restricted diet, get the dehydrated version, work with that. Because the other type does have spices in it, and it has a little sodium, not too much, but it does have sodium added. See how that's working? It's breaking up just like ground beef or turkey does. It's working really good. When you work with this in a recipe, you can pretty much follow the recipe with just a few adjustments. As it has no fat, you do need to add a little oil. I'm just going to turn my heat up just a little bit here. And you do have to add oil and brown it before you add it to a recipe. I'm using 2 packages, and today I picked this one right here. That's the square box, and that works really good in place of the meat. It does a good job taking on the flavors, the spices, and cooks just like as if I were using turkey. Now, a little tip here on if you are using poultry. When you cook turkey, you want to cook it all the way through before you add it to a soup pot. We don't heat it high enough to kill the bacteria in a soup pot, so you need to cook it in a skillet, drain it, and then add it to the pot. Especially if it's not a lean meat, you'd want to drain off all that fat. Well, While that's cooking down here a little bit, let's get some vegetables ready. This is going to taste so good. I've got some zucchinis to slice up and add with us. You know, zucchini adds such good flavor. It's really high in minerals, fiber. I tell you, they're so good for us. And they're really good in this recipe, diced kind of chunky. I like my zucchinis, about 1/2 inch thick, maybe 1/4, just like this. Looks really good. Good zucchini, I tell you. Zucchini has fiber, like we said, and you hear us talk about that in the show so much, about how we want to add fiber to our diet, and the zucchini adds another layer of flavor. All right, we've got our zucchinis, so let me make sure this is browned up really good. When you're browning this at home, about 5 to 7 minutes would be good before you add your vegetables. And then we'll start by adding our zucchini and then the rest of our vegetables. Okay, we got that. Let's throw this zucchini in the pot. And here we go with the rest of our zucchini. We've got 1 bell pepper, all diced up nice for you. I'll stir that, and then I'm going to add a couple cans of diced tomatoes. Now, when you do tomatoes, guys, be sure that you get the kind that has low salt. You can add your salt to this recipe later on, and I'd rather see you add your own salt than depend on the manufacturers to tell you how much salt you're going to get. So I always get the organic tomatoes when I can, or better yet, stew your own at home. There we go. That is going to be so good. You hear that kind of sizzling up in there? Now when that gets good and mixed in, we'll add our spices. We'll stir that up just a little bit. It's going to cook down really nice. There we go. You know, adding the spices is where this gets fun. In Texas, well, you know how Texans are. They like everything done up to big style. In Texas, they like it hot. Chili's always the subject of debate. And most Texans just think theirs is the best, but they like it hot. I have 2 versions of this recipe for you so that you can pick which one you want. And when I say hot, I'm not talking about temperature. Okay, let's get our spices going here. All right, now, this is what I say about the spices. This is what I'm talking about when I say adding heat. I've got 3 spices that give this the flavor. We've got chili powder. We've got cayenne pepper, and my new favorite, chipotle chili powder. Now, on this one, when you get the recipe to this one, you can add about half is what I'd suggest for you to do, because I did 3 teaspoons chili powder. You may not like that much. So add half of your heat, and then taste it and add more as you like. The rest of the spices are good as listed, which I've got paprika, which is really good. Okay. Cumin. I love the cumin flavor. And then salt and pepper. The salt, the recipe calls for 1½ teaspoons. I would take 1 teaspoon and taste it and try to use it at that level because I don't want you getting too much, but it's really good. Okay, and our freshly ground pepper. I know it takes a little extra time, but I usually will take that pepper and grind it from a grinder. Now I'm going to add some arrowroot powder for my thickener. Stir that in because it's going to work in really good. And as this cooks down and the juices all come from the vegetables, it's actually going to get quite watery. Now, if you haven't discovered chipotle chili powder, you'll have to get some. It's in the supermarket with the rest of the spices. It has such a nice smoky flavor, and it's not that hot. I've got a picture here for you. Chipotle chili is really just smoked jalapeno chilies. I have some over there, and they're so cool. They've been dried and smoked. You can see the jalapenos, and then right beside them, you see the chipotle chilies. Now, when this gets all nice and bubbly, then you're just going to cover it and reduce it for about an hour. If I were using meat, I'd simmer it closer to 2 hours. The secret to great chili is long, slow cooking. At the end of the hour, I'll add a can or 2 of dark red kidney beans. Now, on the vegetarian version, I like a little more beans because it gives a little more substance. So I'm going to go ahead and put these in for you. And look how pretty and how nice that is. It's going to cook up really good. I don't add these early on because they get mushy. Now look at that. At the end, when you've added your beans like this, you'll want it to simmer for about another 15-20 minutes just to get the seasonings and get everything all melded together, which tastes really good. So let's cover this with my lid here and let it go to work. This is a good time to adjust the seasonings as well. Well, that is it. Great chili to warm you up on a cold winter day or to take to your summer chili cook-off and win you some great reviews with the neighbors. To serve this as a main course, this is just beautiful. Look at that. How could the family not want some of this? Look at this beautiful chili. And doesn't that look like any meat you've ever seen? It's beautiful. We'll just ladle some of that into a bowl. Oh, that looks good. Talk about a hearty dinner. And then you can serve that with any topping you like, sour cream, yogurt cheese, chopped onions. I love this yogurt cheese. It is so healthy. And these chips that we made back when we did the black bean salsa, that recipe is on the website as well. Make a dinner salad and you've got dinner. This is so good. This dish is both easy, satisfying, and a great way to cut out meat once in a while. If we just eat vegetarian a couple times a week, like we saw in our cholesterol show, we can cut our cholesterol down and aid in healing at the same time. I hope you enjoy this one from deep in the heart of Texas. For these recipes, log on to healthycookingwithcindy.com. Print it off and enjoy, and as always, if you don't have a computer, send me a self-addressed stamped envelope. I'll send it to you. Well, stay tuned, because we're going to be right back after these messages for more of your help. Happy trails.